want to invite Dr. Ajay Mathur. He is the Director General of International Solar Alliance. He brings wealth of leadership and expertise across all key areas of energy transition, from policy, research, technology commercialization to financing and international collaborations.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Akram. It's a pleasure to be here, and I congratulate you and all the other people who have spoken today. I also congratulate you on the special day that we are celebrating tomorrow. This is a day when we all collectively restate our common goal of ensuring that the environment becomes better than it was yesterday. And I think that's important, because for each one of us to continue to live in this world, to continue to be productive, it is important that we live in an environment which is sustainable, in an environment that is productive, in an environment within which we can prosper. I would like to focus on one special issue as far as the environment is concerned, and that is what the former minister from Bangladesh also spoke about. He spoke of climate change adaptation. I would like to speak more on the issue of climate change mitigation. We all know the basics, that the carbon dioxide produced by the burning of fossil fuels has resulted in carbon dioxide concentrations in the atmosphere that are so large that they're leading to the kinds of changes in the global climate, which are leading then to cyclones, to droughts, to storms, to floods, which the Honorable Minister had spoken about. But we also all understand that at the heart of it, the solution is that we move away from a society that is based on energy coming from fossil fuels, whose burning produces the carbon dioxide. So, okay, that's very good. So we should move to non-carbon sources. But what's the challenge? I think there are two major challenges. And on both of them, we have moved ahead a huge way. The first challenge, traditionally for years, had been that non-fossil fuel-based energy was extremely expensive. And consequently, in a country like India, where the ability of people to pay for energy was limited, there was only a limited amount of renewables that could be done. It's not that we didn't do renewables. We always did. After all, India was the first country in the world with a Ministry for Renewable Energy, or earlier the Department of Non-Conventional Energy Sources. I think it is also worth remembering that the reason why India went in for renewable energy, and the reason why a lot of countries across the world are going in for renewable energy, is because it promotes energy security. It reduces the amount of energy that you import. It, at the same time, and this is becoming more and more clear now, it also reduces the amount of urban pollution, especially when you move it into the kinds of fuels that are used, especially in the transportation and the industry sectors. This then leads us to the question of why is it that this has taken long? I obviously have noted the issue of costs. And over a period of time, in the last few years, the costs have declined substantially. They've declined to the point that when the sun is shining or when the wind is blowing, electricity from solar or wind is the cheapest electricity that you have today. It is far cheaper than electricity from fossil fuels. However, we are not yet at the place where electricity, round-the-clock electricity from renewables and storage becomes the cheapest option. It is our feeling, it is our interpretation based on the kinds of actions that are happening in countries like India, that in a few years, tomorrow, next year, the year after that, we will be in a situation where electricity from renewables and storage would provide us round-the-clock electricity that is the cheapest form of electricity that is available. I would like to focus on what is it that we can do to help this happen. In our analysis, purely for the purposes of making this convenient, we believe that there are 4 things that matter. The first is that it is important that we reduce the amount of energy that is needed, and therefore energy efficiency becomes important. The second is obviously we decarbonize the electricity sector, and more of this as we go along. The third is that we electrify as much energy use as possible. The electrification of the transportation fleet is one example, but it's only one example. We should also need to electrify what we can on the industry area. And the fourth is that in places where we can't electrify, we should be able to provide zero carbon energy. And what is zero carbon energy? One of the things that is being talked about today, what seems to be possible for tomorrow, is hydrogen. And if we can make hydrogen either from nuclear energy or from photovoltaic energy or wind energy, using the electricity to split water, then we could have a hydrogen that is green and provides the kind of heat energy that is used everywhere. The challenge that we have seen is that renewable energy, especially when together with batteries, ends up in the end producing electricity which is no more expensive than the electricity with fossil fuels. However, what does change is that the price, the first cost of renewables and storage is far higher than that of fossil fuel. Because when you use fossil fuels, you're also using coal or gas, and they become essentially half to third of the cost. But they're used in the year when the electricity is used. But with batteries and renewables, you have to spend the entire money upfront. This makes renewable energy very susceptible to the cost of capital. So consequently, one of the first things that we need to do is to ensure that for these kinds of applications, the cost of capital is as low as possible for green energy applications. What can we do to make that happen? And again, this is something that all of us have to work together on. If I'm setting up a renewable energy plant and I go to a bank, the bank will say, well, you know, we are putting a lot of money up front. You're going to get your money back when you sell electricity. All of it depends on whether you will be paid or not. And consequently, payment guarantee mechanisms are a key driver of the cost of capital. If you have got a payment guarantee mechanism from an organization which is high value, which is valued by banks, which banks know will not default on payments, the cost of capital becomes lower. On the other hand, if there is a feeling that they may default, that cost goes up. Similarly, if you're selling electricity where it is difficult to get money back, unless there is a subsidy mechanism built in, it becomes difficult. The short point that I want to leave you with is that a facility that provides risk mitigation becomes important. I urge you to see how we can gather the global community in creating a risk mitigation mechanism which is global. A risk mitigation mechanism which allows capital to flow into green projects across the world, into countries where it is difficult to make renewable energy projects now because they end up becoming too expensive, because, as I said, most of the money is spent in the initial investment. Is it difficult? The numbers that we have put together tell us that a risk mitigation facility with a capital behind it of somewhere in the vicinity of $500 billion, $500 million would be more than enough to draw the commercial capital that it will take for the renewable energy investments to occur. Yes, it is a lot of money, but it is nowhere near the kind of money that is today put by various countries into energy subsidies. The energy subsidies together are approximately 6 to 8 times this amount. We can do it. We can remake history, but most importantly, we accelerate the green transition. I want to thank Policy Times and Akram again for this opportunity to speak, and I look forward for all of us to work together in rewriting history. Thank you all very much.